Some vibes going right quick. We dropped the link in there for you. I hope you're doing well on this beautiful Friday. Dropped the link in there. That link right. Let me do this again. There we go. So I dropped the link in the little chat box for the Moorish literature. We got that pinned up top there for you. We'll start working on the outside. Gonna get some music going.
It's so funny being back on this planet, man. It's been such a long time.
Feeling good on this Friday. Peace, 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 peace.
It's just like, hey, oh, hey, yeah, back from Atlantis. You see, I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars, I'm not talking Boulevard. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars, I am from the I am from the we was one with our creator, and then we fell. Oh my God, oh my God.
Then we fell. Oh my God, oh we fell.
Oh yes we fell. Oh my God. Listen up, and all is mine, all is mine, all is mine. All is mine. You see, we can make a heaven, you know why? We made our hell. Just look around. Can't you tell? Okay, be careful what you think, and be careful how you move, and be careful what you say. You know why? These words are spells. Yeah, they cast a spells.
They cast the spells. And listen well.
See, we are not the body,
And we are not the flesh. It's life after death, and this thing right here is just a test. To reconnect.
The holy breath. I said, I was born on earth, but I'm not from here. Yeah, I am from the stars, I'm not talking Boulevard. Oh, no, no. I keep telling you, I'm not from here. You see, I was born on earth, but I'm not from here. Yeah, I am from the stars, I'm not talking Boulevard. Oh, no, no. I am from the sky, the sun of Most High.
Dollars and cents. That's what it is.
The sun of Most High, oh my God.
All right.
Praise the Lord.
All right. Peace, 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 peace. I am Rami Salam Mel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. This class, we're talking about economic security, embezzlement, the Supreme Grand Council. We're going to connect all that. We're going to bring it all the way around. And I want to be clear, this is coming from Noble Drew Ali. Understand, the founder, prophet, universal prophet, came for everybody to help humanity, but came specifically for so-called black people, so-called Negroes, so-called colors, so-called African Americans, who we truly know are Moorish Americans to be specific, because we need his help the most. And with this Moorish Science Temple of America, this Moorish movement, it is, we have gone way off track. You know what I mean? And we have, as a collective, we have not been following the teachings and the laws and the principles that Noble Drew Ali laid forth. or put forth for us. And what I want to make sure that I do is let you know that this is coming from Noble Drew Ali. So when you hear these words, understand this is coming from a prophet that was sent by our Creator, the Creator that created everything, the universe, the stars, the planets, air, everything. Sent this particular cat for us, and this is some information that he told for us to follow. And this book is coming from the Moorish Divine and National Movement. I got this pamphlet from R.V. Bay Publications a long, long time ago. But this excerpt in particular is coming from Noble Drew Ali. It's entitled, which you can find in the Moorish literature, that link that I sent in there. It's entitled Moorish Leaders' Historical Message to America. And it's a lengthy speech, but at the end here, it has something that's very important that I want to focus on today. In connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. In connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power. This is what Noble Drew Ali said, not what Rami said. We talk about secure the bag. Oh, secure the bag. Noble Drew Ali was talking about secure the bag in the 1920s, family. Come on, man. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time, and this is in the 1920s now, than greater economic power. Better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger incomes will follow our economic security. This is what Noble Drew Ali said. He said, hey, man, we need to get to the bag. It'll get us to a bigger bag. He laid it out for us, man. Now listen very carefully right here. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. This is what Noble Drew Ali said. Now, I just want to pause just for a second, and let's just be honest. Moors, are we speaking about economic security as a collective? Is that what we've been focused on? Creating business? Are we? Are we really honestly doing that? We are not, man. We not. And we need to be. Why? Not because Rami's saying it, not because I feel like we need to focus on getting money. No. Because Noble Drew Ali said it. He said it. He said we must promote economic security. We must promote it. Not we should promote it. Hey, Moors, it'd be cool if you promote it, you know what I mean, if you feel like it. He said we must promote economic security. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time. Oh, my goodness. This is back then. We definitely need it now. Goodness gracious. But I'm joking, but I'm serious. And on a deeper level, it says we shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. And if you really think about it, and if you really look at our condition as a people, as a nation of people, we're not really secure in nothing. Not in our culture, not in where we live, not in how we can provide for ourselves. not in providing opportunities for our family, our children, you know, we need to get on our job with this. And let me just continue on real quick here. Our, our, our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of the trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means connected to any particular group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our group who are qualified, both by training and experience, who are shining lights in the business world of all people. It is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success. And worst of all, have joined in the condemnations of them when they fail. Except in cases of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability, our business enterprises in every field of endeavor should have the fullest confidence, cooperation, and patronage whenever and wherever they can be given. He laying out the blueprint on how we supposed to conduct business with each other, set a standard for how we supposed to have our business, and how, a principle. If as long as if it's a Moorish business out there, whatever the Moorish, a Moorish sock business, people they selling socks. As long as the Moorish sock business isn't dishonest, discourteous, they have a lack of service, or they're unreliable, we should be buying the socks from them. We should be supporting them. Lays the principles out, and as a business, you should make sure, hey, our quality of business, our service need to be up here. You know what I mean? We need to be reliable. We need to be honest. We need to be courteous. It sets the standard how we need to be operating. And I wanted to highlight this, and I'm gonna highlight what Noble Drew Ali said. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand. Oh, peace. I didn't see the chat there. The problem is we businessmen is having a big problem with incorporating our businesses within the temple, any temple. I appreciate that, Jonathan Scott Bay. We're gonna get to the connection with business and the temple and embezzlement. We're gonna get there. Hold tight. We're gonna get there. Noble Drew Ali, in that Moorish literature link that I pinned up there, there's also a section in the Moorish literature called Our Dollars and Cents. Shout out to DJ Quick. Our Dollars and Cents, though, with Noble Drew Ali. The doctrine of economic security is by no means as widespread and intensive among Americans of our group as the circumstances demand. Again, hey, man, we need to be talking about economic security as Moorish Americans. This is priority. Is by no means as widespread and intensive among Americans of our group as the circumstances demand. And the more written and said on the subject, the better. We need to more earnestly urge conscientious support of the businessmen and women of our group in their chosen fields of endeavor. The greater the success of their business enterprises, the more open gates of opportunity there will be for our youth of today and tomorrow. Come on now. Laid it out for us. You know what I mean? Group economics. This is what he's talking about. Noble Drew Ali, not Ramen. Just to be clear, this is Noble Drew Ali's words, not Ramen. About economic security. Noble Drew Ali is talking about this, 1920s now. Think of this fact. We need to urge that our businessmen and women build on the principle of service. We need to urge we need to urge greater cooperation among them to render courteous, honest, and efficient service to the buying public. Setting the standard. And we as our people, we need to hold our people to that standard. You know, hold on, keep it real now. You know how it is when we trying to support quote unquote black business. Some of the business is great. Love it. Amazing. Shout out. Oh man, hold on one second. Shout out hold on one second. One second. Let me try. Bam. Oh wait. Shout out. Remember Foods. Check them out. I just got this in. Majestic Mushrooms, specializing in ginseng and reishi, superior concierge herbal tonics. Some majestic mushrooms. It got some reishi, a bunch of mushrooms in here. But this really the joint right here. This is I stand on this one. This one is if you can see that, Miracle Emerald Green's 10th Power. You know, the green powder for the smoothies and such. Remembered Foods, amazing product, man. Let me just read some of the ingredients: cracked chlorella, blue-green algae, spirulina, moringa, hemp protein powder, brown rice protein powder, astragalus, dandelion, barley grass, wheatgrass, kelp, papaya leaf, spinach, ginseng leaf, a bunch of more stuff. My point is, we gotta support businesses. You know what I mean? They do great businesses, but some of our people, they businesses, yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about. Let's be honest now. Yeah. But that don't mean we need to just completely disrespect and just be like, I'm never working with their business again. It's over for them just off of one bad situation. Hey, I really want to support you. Is it possible we could work on the service? Because the last time I was doing such and such, man, I just felt like real disrespected. Hold each other accountable. Let me get back to what Noah Drawley said. We need to urge greater cooperation among them to render courteous, honest, and efficient service to the buying public. They should not expect any support and patronage merely on the grounds that they are race men and women in business, but for the reasons that the service and the quality of their goods and products that they sell are equal in value to the service and merchandise offered to the buying public by any other business people. There should be maintained a cooperative spirit among our businessmen and women to keep their business places as clean and sanitary as any other similar places in any other section of the city. Citizens of our group should cultivate a sound vision when it comes to the necessity of buying professional service, merchandise, provisions, etc. We should look beyond the direct result and object for which we invest our money. Look beyond just that one transaction. We should lose sight of the mere fact that we received a dollar's worth for a dollar spent. We should keep firmly in the mind the necessity of keeping each dollar spent as much as possible within the spheres of our own activities. That's group economics right there. We should keep firmly in our mind the necessity of keeping each dollar spent as much as possible within the spheres, that circle, within the spheres of our own activities, where they will create further opportunities of business enterprises and wider opportunities for men and women of our group to procure soundly remunerative employment and some good jobs. Forward, we must be the watchword of the seller and buyer alike. We make the money and we spend the cash. Let us sincerely cooperate with the other. Our plight will change when we change ourselves. Noble Drew Ali. Again, group economics. We need to have businesses in all different kinds of fields. We need any sort of business that you see out there. Moorish dry cleaning, Moorish socks, Moorish clothing, Moorish books, Moorish TVs, Moorish T-shirts, Moorish water, Moorish soil, Moorish vegetables. Whatever business you good at, we need you. We need you. Here's the problem though. We got to do good business. We got to have some principles that we stick to. We got to have some rules and some laws that we follow. And when we look, and if we're being honest, if we look at the temple for our example, a business, how it's supposed to be run, it's not a good example. That's where embezzlement comes in. Here it says, the prophet has spoken in Moorish literature. The head of every temple must by law obey the word of the prophet. And if any leader or head of any temple fails to obey these laws, embezzlement is his charge and is subject to enforcement of the law by the grand body. And the penalty may be a fine or removal from office, or placed under a very heavy restriction of the law. Supreme words of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We'll read it again, that part that speaks about embezzlement. The head of every temple must by law obey the word of the prophet. And if any leader or head of any temple fails to obey these laws, embezzlement is his charge. We always talk about law, Moors, right? This is the Black's Law Dictionary. These are Noble Drew Ali's words. Embezzlement is the charge. And I looked up embezzlement. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Embezzlement: the fraudulent appropriation to his own use or benefit of property or money entrusted to him by another, by clerk, agent, trustee, public officer, or other person acting in fiduciary character. The fraudulent appropriation of property by a person to whom it has been entrusted, or to whose hands it has lawfully come. Fraudulent appropriation of property or money. Embezzlement is the charge. So Noble Drew Ali said. I want to bring, and he said, if you don't obey the laws, you must by law obey the word of Noble Drew Ali. And if any temple or any head of any temple fails to obey the laws, embezzlement is the charge. And I want to look up for you real quick something as we get to that. It's called general laws. General laws. This is some general laws, okay? Not anything super difficult to understand, super intricate to get. Some general laws. And again, if you don't follow the laws, any head, any grand sheik, the heads of any temple, as it said, any leader or head of any temple fails to obey these laws, embezzlement is the charge. Fraudulent appropriation of property or money. This section of the Moorish literature, is called General Laws, as said by the Prophet. These are the general laws. The supreme laws will be handed to you tomorrow night. The Supreme Council, Supreme Grand Council, will be chosen tomorrow, consisting of 7 men tried and true, accepted by you, according to words, works, and deeds. Very key. Mention the Supreme Grand Council. General laws. Let's get past that. Come back to that. Here's a very important law. The head of all temples are to give an account once a month of all finances into the grand body. And the grand sheik, grand sheikess, governor, and grand governor of any said temple are to work hand in hand and intercede that the prophet is the law. They are to know that they are part of the law and must obey. The heads of all temples are to give an account of all once a month of all finances into the grand body. That's a law. We talk. What is this about, Rami? Again, bringing it back to business, economic security. As Moors, if you just on the outside looking in, and you reading this, and it's talking about economic security, and we need finance, and we need to support each other in business, this, that, and the third. Okay, but how is the business ran? Look at the organization. Are they following the laws? Are the heads of all temples giving an account of all finances into the grand body every month? Have they been doing that? 2021, 2020, the past 80, 90 years, do we have the records and the documents for that? Do we just see an example of that? Do we hear any grand sheiks or head of temples talking about this? Be honest with ourselves. And this is a law, a general law. The head of every temple, at the bottom here, the head of every temple must by law obey the word of the prophet, and if any head leader or head of any temple fails to obey these laws, embezzlement is his charge and is subject to enforcement of the law by the grand body. And the penalty may be a fine or removal from office or being placed under a very heavy restriction of the law. Supreme words of the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I mean, it breaks it down that there's supposed to be an emergency fund at every temple of a certain amount in case of emergencies to help the people. And if every temple had that emergency fund and was putting that in as they were supposed to, in times of emergency, like where the economy shut down, we may be secure. We may be able to provide financial support and not have to depend on the stimmies, for example. You feel me? But if we aren't following general laws, we aren't following the temple tax, which Noble Drew Ali was emphatic to say is not to be ignored. And a report of that is supposed to be sent in every month to the Supreme Grand Business Manager of the Supreme Grand Council. And where's the Supreme Grand Council? Because this said here, Rami, it said that the temples are to give an account into the grand body. It doesn't say the Supreme Grand Council, Rami. But the Supreme Grand Council has the duty and obligation to supervise, control and supervise all affairs of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Supervise, so they should be getting a report as well. Yeah. It's all connected. And that's why we have to fix the Supreme Grand Council. That's at the core, the center of it. The grand body is supposed to confirm the picks for the Supreme Grand Council. The grand body consists of all the executive rulers, all the grand sheiks, assistant grand sheiks, etc. It's a government, it's a structure. It's a way this is supposed to be operating. And as long as we ignore certain key components of this organization, of this nation, of our movement, We're gonna stay stagnant. It's gonna be confusion. When you look around, I seen a post. I seen a post that man, I should have sent it myself. I seen a post from a news clipping. It was an image of a news clipping saying that the prophet wanted us to have our own city, our whole setup. You know what I mean? How we be talking about a whole setup. Boom. This was in 1929. I would love for us to get there, but we first gotta make sure we is running our own organization right. You know, far too many times you'll hear Moors we talking about, oh, we know the law and this, that, and the third, and this is actually Morocco and Blase, and this is our land, and we gotta proclaim, and I got it. But what about following the general laws that's been laid forth for us? I mean, throughout this Moorish literature, he talks about finance. Here's another part. Everything, every business transaction or anything pertaining to finance is to be transacted in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America or Noble Drew Ali. We Moors must maintain a grand treasurer, just as in the days of our forefathers. Then you are a nation. Until then, you are nothing. And this is from the section called Think This Over, You Moors. Think this over. What? Think this over now. Every business transaction or anything pertaining to finance should be under a certain name. Principle, structure, law, order. It's a program we're supposed to be following. Are we following it? We're not. Do we have a grand treasurer? One's is making sure all the finances is correct. Do we got that going? Embezzlement. Fraudulent appropriation of property or fund or money. But what can we do about it? Who do we go to? What are we supposed to do in regards to that? Well, if we had our Supreme Grand Council, we could have a ruling on that. That's what it's for. They're the sole judge. And I wanted to highlight one other thing I thought was important. Especially for all the grand sheiks, the leaders of the temples. There it is. It is, this section is number 41 to all governors, grand sheiks, and head officials of temples. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali has said the following thing during our very first convention. So this was during the time of the first Moorish convention, where all the people from all the different branch temples all throughout the nation came together to meet up. It was featured by delegates from 15 different states from local branch temples and subordinate temples, which had been established for the uplifting of fallen humanity. Listen to this is a very key part right here. During this, our first convention, in sessions specific of general work and civil accomplishments were reported by the grand sheiks of each branch temple and subordinate temple, as each grand sheik was required to give a reporting of his temple and the governor and in the continued growth and development of this divine movement. As each grand sheik gave their report about the growth of business and enterprises of the example of collective efforts show that the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and their leaders have enacted a sound economic program and are blazing the trail and marking the pathway over which our posterity can travel unhampered and unafraid. It's clear that all the grand sheiks are supposed to be going to the convention and give a report as required to give a reporting of his temple, of their businesses and enterprises. This is what's supposed to be going on. Structure. What's up? Just forget it for right now, please. Thank you. Focusing on what I was saying. Sorry about that. The point is, what it was explaining here is that the grand sheiks of each branch temple, subordinate temple, is required to give a report of the development and the growth of the temple, the businesses, what's going on. This is supposed to happen every year. There's supposed to be a report so that everybody can see how the movement is growing. Is that happening? Are we following our laws? Are we following the instructions of Noble Drew Ali? We not. And this responsibility, it falls on all of our shoulders, on all of us as a collective. It falls on the heads of the temples, all the grand sheiks, any grand sheik that's out there. If they're not giving these reports of finances every month, the taxes and what's going on with the business every month, they're not doing their reports every month, they're not following the law. That's embezzlement. And if we not holding our leaders accountable, we not following the law. Embezzlement. We all out of order. And that's why the movement is not working. And when you see, well, why isn't there no Moorish towns out there? Why can't I go to a Moorish American city? Where is that at? Where are all the Moorish American businesses at? It should be very clear for us to see this movement established over almost 100 years ago. We got to get on our job. We got to be honest. We got to hold ourselves accountable. We got to hold our leaders accountable. And as Noble Drew Ali said, we must promote economic security. But then we have to actually hold ourselves accountable, being responsible in terms of business on all levels. The business we do with customers and patrons of the business, and also the business we do irrespective of the temples. We gotta be on point, Moors. We gotta follow the law. We always talking about the law. And how such and such, and they not following the law, and we know the law, and da-da-da. Well, let's get on point. You feel me? Well, that is most of what I had to say today. And any questions about the Supreme Grand Council or economic security, Moorish business, is there any questions about that? Or embezzlement? Is anything unclear? And I was even noticing, even within our Constitution, the Constitution that we have to follow, one of the laws there is talking about paying dues. Act, which one is it here? There we go. Act 7. On the 7th. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all the necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We must pay our dues, but when it comes to paying our dues, do we have a grand treasurer in place? Do we have a supreme grand business manager of the Supreme Grand Council? Are the temples showing the example of doing good business? Can we have trust and faith in our leaders that they're going to put the money in the right place, or are they going to embezzle the money? Being honest. We got to get right. Just the facts of the matter. We got to get right. We got to follow the law. Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The grand body works directly with the Supreme Grand Council. It's a fact of the matter. Is the grand body working with the Supreme Grand Council? Do we have evidence of that? We don't. We have to follow the law. We got to get on point. We got to hold our leaders accountable. If they call themselves a Grand Sheik, we got to hold them accountable on economic security. Are they promoting this? No other one thing is needed among us more at this time than economic power. We need it. But with that, see, here comes the responsibility, the records. It's not just trust me and have faith and belief and spiritual God. No, let's get to the dollars and cents of things. Let's get to the records. Let's have an audit of the business. Ain't no feelings. We just want to make sure the accounting is right. We want to make sure that the money is where it's supposed to be going. And if you're honest, if you're standing on the principle of truth, you got no problem with that. You got no problem with that. You following the law, so the money is definitely going to be where it's supposed to be. If you're being faithful, if you're being righteous, everybody following the law, we do good business, boom, we prosper. This thing is rolling. Insurance, health, medical. Do I know anything about app making? I don't. Although we do need it. We need some apps. We need some Moorish American apps ASAP. It's a good question. If there are any Moorish Americans out there that are skilled in app making, you should make yourself known. Make a YouTube video about the apps you make. Put yourself out there. Promote that. We need that business. We need that. But lastly, are there any questions while I'm here, while I'm live? Are there any questions about the Supreme Grand Council? How it's connected? Anything about the Supreme Grand Council in general? I want to make sure that I'm available for questions. Is there anything I didn't cover in the video that you're unsure about? That is not clear on why the Supreme Grand Council is so important? I don't see anything. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about that. Mm. 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 All right, I'm gonna close out with something from Noble Drew Ali. Let me double check on the questions. No, I didn't see no questions. No questions about the Supreme Grand Council. No questions at all about anything else. Mm. 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 Yeah. Okay. Couple things, and then we gonna get up out of here. Oh, question. Can we incorporate in the temple? Jonathan Scott Bay, I don't know. But you know who will be able to give a great answer with the states with the state it's in. I don't know about that. But I know who will be great to go to for us to get an answer about how we operate. You guessed it. The Supreme Grand Council. That would be the best entity, the best committee, the best group of Moorish Americans that we could go to get an understanding on how we're supposed to operate, because they have the duty and obligation to control and supervise all the property and affairs of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But I wanted to read, and that's not to dismiss the question. It's a good question. I don't know. And even if I may have an opinion on it, but ultimately, we have too many people giving their opinion, saying, "Oh, we should do it this way." No, I feel we should do it this way. Well, I did it this way and it worked for me. Well, no, this is the way we could do it. And we have confusion and people saying this way works, or this is the way we're supposed to go, or this is the way it's supposed to be done. When we should have a law and order that we're supposed to be following for things like that. But I wanted to read this little piece here from the chapter, Holy Instruction from the Prophet Justice. And it's line 11. When thou selleth for gain, hear the whispering of conscience, and be satisfied with moderation, nor from the ignorance of thy buyer make any advantage. Pay the debts which thou owe, for he who give thee credit relieth upon thy honor, and to withhold from him his due is both mean and unjust. Business. If you selling something for gain, be conscious. Don't try to get over and make, mark it up 700%. Don't exploit the people just because they don't know no better. Get a moderate, nice little profit and be cool with that. It's in the book, man. Just an example of business, how we're supposed to follow. And in chapter 47, I just wanted to read this again. These are holy and divine laws, line 12. These are holy and divine laws are from the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meetings and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The law is supposed to be strictly preserved, man. We got to follow the law. We got to follow the law. Which Supreme Grand Council? There's only one Supreme Grand Council, just to be clear. There's only one Supreme Grand Council. if there's anyone saying that there's multiple Supreme Grand Councils, well, that is incorrect. But that goes to ultimately to my point in terms of how we correct this. We need to inform everybody about the Supreme Grand Council so everyone's fully informed, fully aware of what it is, how it operates, what its purpose is. And then we need to get all our concerns and questions together. And then at the convention where all the Grand Sheiks are supposed to be required to come, all the Grand Sheiks are required to be at this convention, then we can settle the Supreme Grand Council issue, get clarity on any and all questions, and we can move forward unified. That is the key. Following Noble Drew Ali. I thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions. Most importantly, study what Noble Drew Ali said. Understand what he was speaking about in terms of economic security. Look into the Moorish literature link that I sent. Look into all the examples he spoke about finance and economic power. He speaks about group economics. And we need to be following the examples and the guidance that he set for us. But with that comes some responsibility and some accountability. You know what I mean? And we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Much love to you. Keep shining. Most importantly, got to lead with love. Love instead of hate. That is the key. That is the way. Study Noble Drew Ali. Yeah. Keep shining. Peace.